Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Welcome to this week's Mental Monday. So I actually have a really interesting topic for you this week for the Mental Monday. I started thinking about it, and I don't think I've ever talked about the connection between psychology and Christianity, or psychology and faith, but specifically Christianity. That's the faith that I can really speak from, and so I thought we could take the time to talk about the connection between the two and how they actually work together and if they work together. So we're going to look at 3 reasons why I think psychology and Christianity actually fit together really, really well. So my first reason that I believe Christianity and psychology go together really well is because Jesus is actually referred to as a mighty counselor. In Isaiah 9:6, it says, "For to us a child is born, to us a son is given, and the government will be on his shoulders, and he will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace." So that shows not just counselor in the psychology sense, I guess, but it shows a value of the mentality. So it's a focus of the underneath inner workings, an acknowledgement that a lot of pain and anguish and trauma is emotional and mental, and that's really important to deal with. A lot of the Bible talks about getting to the heart of something and getting into somebody's heart and affecting them in that way. So the Bible talks about Jesus in that light a lot. And I think that just shows the type of relationship that he wants to have with us, if he wants to be our counselor and talk us through things, listen to us, hear out our problems, and be there to help us through struggles. You don't go to a counselor because you're fine. You go to a counselor because you have something you want to work through or work on. So that is my number one reason. And I love that. Not just from the psychology standpoint, but I've just always really loved that description of Jesus. The second reason is actually just more of an example of it working together. Maybe not a reason, and that is Christian psychology. There is a branch of psychology that is called Christian psychology, that they're Christian psychologists, and not that there's much different concepts psychologically that they're using, but it's applying what that whole aspect is alongside the aspect of faith. So this commingling of the two ends up with a way to address struggles and issues and pain and trauma from 2 different angles. As a psychologist, you're able to use the psychological concepts that you've learned and the tactics to help somebody that you've learned, alongside helping them through their faith and taking them to God with it, teaching them how to take it to God, kind of encouraging them in that, and having that be an aspect of how you counsel them, how you help them, and what tools you might use in helping them. Christian psychologists often will offer or ask to pray for clients. That's maybe not everybody, and of course there's freedom to say, no, I'm okay, thank you. But just that whole idea of incorporating prayer and biblical concepts and looking at scripture for help is an amazing example of merging the two and having it be honestly kind of a match made in heaven, if I can say that, because you're helping the person from such a wider angle at that point when you're able to look at it on those two fronts. So that is an example of them working together. Thirdly, from the Christian perspective, why psychology is appealing, or why it really does work for getting that help that you need. It isn't shutting God out of the equation. It's further understanding how he made us. It's further understanding our interactions with a fallen world and how that world has affected us and what we can do to try to cope or heal. And I don't think that's taking away from the work God does. I honestly feel like that is a way he works. Now I say a way he works because he works in a lot of ways. You can't predict how he's going to work in something. You can't predict what he's going to do. And for that reason, I'm not going to say that that's the only way he would work, that that's the only way he would help you. I can simply say I have seen so many examples of that being one of the ways he works, and amazing things coming out of it. And I just am so happy to have that option and to have gotten the opportunity to learn all that I have to understand these things. And I honestly think it's brought me farther in my faith than if I hadn't taken these classes and if I hadn't had such an understanding of psychology like I do. Even in the beginning, I saw growth and I saw how he was using it in my life, and I can just feel how he has used it through me in others' lives, and it's just amazing to me. So I really think it's a beautiful picture of how he works, and I think it is something that Christians can embrace. And of course, there are going to be some schools of thought within it that don't fully line up. I don't know that I would say all of psychology lines up with Scripture, but there are psychological concepts that very, very much align with Scripture, and very, very much are examples of God working. Even in the Bible, you can find examples of psychological concepts and how that has worked. So I think it's important to not discount that. And I think it's important to be open to that further understanding that it can give you. And from a counseling perspective, it is an amazing way to help people and be able to meet them at some of the hardest points in their life. That is how I truly believe Christianity and psychology kind of work together and meld together and really can coincide and do go together. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. How you feel that these two might work together, why you feel they may not if you don't feel like they do. And if you have any examples of God using psychology or just that whole topic in any way, I would love to hear it in the comments below. I would just love to hear your thoughts on Christianity and psychology. I think this is a super interesting topic. I didn't want it to get too controversial. I feel like I did okay. I really just wanted to share my thoughts on it. I know I have talked about being a Christian and being into psychology both separately, and I'd never talked about them together. So I think it was really great to be able to take that opportunity and share some of my experiences and my thoughts, and I would love to hear yours. So leave it in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and share it with everybody. Make sure you are subscribed if you are not already, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye!